What's up, nail crew? Let me just start off by saying yes, I know I am late to the reflective glitter trend, but I haven't tried it yet and I am so excited. I'm trying it in today's tutorial and I'm doing it with a dip powder. I've seen it a lot with gel manis, but I wanted to do it with dip powder and I wanted to help everybody with some do's and don'ts of how you should apply glitter dips. For my first nail, the thumbnail, I poured over the glitter, and what I wasn't thinking is the reflective glitter it's like a heavier glitter, so it's a little bit scratchy. So you're not going to get a lot of the glitters to stick to your nail if you pour over. I realized that after the first one. Typically I'll pour over some of my smaller glitters like this, but I don't know, they just seem to be heavier than normal and, like I said, scratchy. So I realized I should lay my nail flat, and once I started laying my nail flat, the coverage of the reflective glitters was so much better. You can see on my thumb, and especially when I go to brush off the first dip, that the thumbnail is just sparse on all those little reflective glitters, and that is the opposite of what we are trying to do. We want our nails to look as as reflective and sparkly as possible. And this reflective glitter was so ridiculously reflective that literally during the day, like in the kitchen, my nails were reflecting at me. It was crazy. I had no idea that the glitters would be like this crazy reflective. So after you finished your first dip, you want to really make sure that you brush off any excess really well. Since they are a bit thicker, you don't want your layers to get really thick. When you're applying your dip liquids, I noticed that these glitters tend to soak in the liquid a little bit more. So I had to add a little bit more dip base than I normally would for some of like my other colors I've used. I think it's just like these glitters, they're just so reflective that they just kind of soak everything in. So you also want to make sure that you really trace well around your cuticles after you apply them. You want to do that on every mani every time. This way you don't get any dip base or any kind of glitter stuck to your nails, but especially on a mani like this where these glitters will reflect so much, you can definitely tell if you do not trace around your cuticles and you get them all over your cuticles. Now they are on my hands and on my skin, like just from the dust of the powder, of the glitter powder, but I was able to just dust that off, and then once I washed my hands, that all came off too. So when you're working with these type of glitters, you also want to really like press your brush down into them to make sure that the liquid gets everywhere, so that when you lay your nail flat, it can pick up every single one of these little glitters. And I had so much fun with this mani. As I'm doing it, I kept like gasping. I mean, not like loud or anything, because I do my nails at night when my kids are asleep, but I was just so excited. I felt like a little kid getting excited about, some kind of color or something really sparkly and fun. I really enjoyed this mani, and I got a little bit stuck on my ring finger on my skin, so I'm gonna have to, you'll see it coming up here, I'm gonna have to take my e-file and trace around my cuticles. And I also left in my filing and shaping for everybody to see. I felt like with a mani like this, it was really nice to see how you do want to buff it smooth, and the key to really getting the dip to pop is you want to make sure you use a super clear. If you're not using a good clear, your reflective glitter is not going to reflect so much. I made sure when I applied the clear dip powder that it was totally covering the reflective glitter, like nothing was popping out, because I would not want any of this gorgeous reflectiveness to be dulled or filed off when I'm going to file and shape. Whenever I'm doing clear dip powder, I like to pour it over first, and then I lay my nail in and I'll trace around my cuticle to make sure that there's no excess clear powder on my cuticles. It tends to, even though I'm not flooding my nails with my liquids, the clear dip powder tends to like stick on my cuticles a little bit more than regular dip powder does. I do not know why. Then once you finished applying your clear dip powder to all of your nails and you make sure that your glitter is really sealed in, you want to activate them really well. Get them nice and soaked with the activator, and then let it dry for however long your liquids stay to let it dry. Then you can buff and shape. And the first thing I like to do is I like to buff really well. Like, I want my nails to be super smooth before I put top coat on. Since these glitters are a little scratchy, you really want to make sure that you file and buff nicely. And if you're applying your liquids thinly, you really shouldn't need to do much shaping with a file. And then I like to go around with my e-file with this Pana extra fine barrel bit and just crisp up my cuticle lines this little secret that I don't keep secret, I have been doing for, I want to say about 2 years now. Check out the next tutorial on how to get the perfect cuticle lines with this nail bit after this video is over. And once I finished with the e-file, I activated and applied my top coat. Hit that like and subscribe button if you found this tutorial helpful. Thanks for joining me today, nail crew.